Mahomes throws, and he's picked off. And this one's going back for a touchdown. 2 steps, 2 defensive touchdowns, and it's Jack Jones who had a pick 6 last week.
Antonio Pierce, the head coach, coached this guy in high school at Long Beach Poly.
All right, Ray Nation, Ryan Holmes, Dwayne Douglas, we're back. We're going to talk about the Raiders. We're going to talk about OTAs, all the stuff going on with that here on the Put On Raiders podcast.
Welcome to the Put On Waivers Media Group, home of the Put On Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
And welcome, everybody, to the glorious episode of the Put On Raiders podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, along with Ryan Holmes, and we are podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California. PORSBR is my Twitter handle, and Ryan Holmes is RHOLM22. Don't forget to like, comment on the show. That really helps the show grow. We'll keep that stuff. We'll keep everything going for you as far as that goes. Haven't talked to Ryan in a while. How you doing today, Ryan?
Doing good. Beautiful West Coast is the beautiful shores. Can't say it enough. It's spent a lot of time in the Midwest the last couple of weeks. It's 95 degrees and thunderstorms and rain delays. So the beautiful skies of Southern California are nice to see this time of year.
Really, really cool and chill out here. To the last week, it's been really like perfect last 2 weeks. So a lot of different ways we can start, but let's start with like the OTA stuff and the news and everything like that. Not really like, any mind breaking, not mind boggling or like crazy. We did have that report that the Players Association is trying to move or trying to get rid of OTA and try to get maybe have an extended training camp in August. Kind of side with the players. So as far as that goes, they know their bodies, everything like that. They probably want a little bit more time off in the offseason. What are your thoughts about that, first of all?
My initial thought when I heard that was they want to move training camp into June or early July. Is they're going to eliminate, obviously, a preseason game. So they need the players to ramp up sooner so that they can add an 18th game. So I think initially, if they do it for a year, it's to test it out and see, and then boom, they're going to go right to an 18-game schedule and lop off one of those 3 preseason games. I don't think the players are really for it. I don't think the employees of the teams are for it because they take a lot of time off basically into June, into July. They have like 3 weeks off before training camp where they basically can go on vacation and relax right before the nitty-gritty starts of training camp. They would lose that. That would be pushed back, obviously, into June. You have the draft in April. So they wouldn't have a lot of free time, players or the employees of the team if that were to happen. But it screams revenue to me. That's the first thing I thought of. The NFL is looking for 18 games, and this is how they would do it.
Are you a fan of the 18 games? Do you think 18 is
too many?
It's too many. I thought 16 was perfect. But 18, I think, is just taking it a little bit over the top, and you can't scream player safety when you're talking about 18 games. But as far as like, do you see like maybe a situation where they're going to do the double buys, 2 buys in one season to maybe get into push Super Bowl into President's Weekend?
Yeah, they would have to. You'd have to give the players a second bye. I think you lose the division rivalries. You lose the importance of winning the division.
100%.
If there's only 6 division games and you're playing 12 non-division games, like basically only a third of your season is within your own division, and you're deciding. I just think you either have to increase the number of division games, make the division smaller if you go to 18 games, so you're playing more within your division and games that really matter. Because let's be honest, no one's tuning into a Week 7 game when it's, let's say the Buccaneers against the Colts. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, make it a division game that matters. I think you need to shrink the divisions, in my opinion. Instead of having 4 divisions within a conference, you would probably go to 3, lengthen them out, more division games if you're going to more games.
As far as OTAs and that goes, and that people make a big deal about players who are not there during this time period. I don't necessarily worry about that because there's no game on Sunday. Like what are your thoughts about like fans kind of? I know fans are gonna kind of go nuts about that stuff, but like they're getting some of these veterans know how to get their bodies ready for a season. Like and like people like Devontae Adams, Max Crosby, they don't even miss games.
Yeah, I don't care who's at OTAs and who's not. It matters when training camp opens, who's there when training camp opens, and then if a guy's not there day one, day two, day three, and it lingers over a week to begin camp, then you start to ask questions, especially the
Yeah.
veterans, like what's going on. Um, we've seen it happen with Raiders players in the past where it's like, oh, it's a minor injury, and the next thing you know, they miss
Yes.
3 weeks of training camp, and then they're not ready
This
till week
season.
4 of the regular season. So let me know about 3 or 4 days into camp who's not practicing and who is. Who practices right now at the end of May. As long as the rookies are out there getting reps, in my opinion, that's all that matters. The younger guys out there learning the system, running around, getting used to what it's like to be at a facility, where to go, what time to be somewhere, how meetings look. The veterans doesn't bother me.
As far as Aiden O'Connell, I don't. I mean, people talk about, oh, he's ahead of our Gardner Minshew right now, and all stuff. I don't really care as far as that goes. But one thing I did hear a lot during the time period where you were away and we were doing our stuff. I mean, we were doing our own things. That this offense is going to be, it's way simpler than the Josh McDaniels system, and he should be able to go into this and jump right in and be better and be able to just do what he needs to do in this offense. And I want to get your thoughts about it as far as that goes. I just, to me, it's like he has an opportunity to grow as a player. I can't really fault him, but I can't really say he doesn't. When I look at this roster offensively, they have a immense amount of talent at wide receiver, at tight end. We'll see what Zamir is at running back. So the opportunity is there. But what are your thoughts about like this being such a simpler and should be an easier transition for him going into the 2024 season?
That's an interesting question, especially the way it's phrased. Was Josh McDaniels' system difficult to learn? Was it advanced? Did it have multiple reads, a bunch of different route combinations? Yes. Does it mean a young player can go into a new offense week one and hit the ground running and know 100% of everything he needs to know? No, he can't. Like, in my opinion, he's still learning a new offense. He's still a young player.
Yes.
He didn't play a full season. They're not going to do a complete install of the offense if he's the quarterback. He's not going to have everything that he's going to have 2 years from now if he's still playing quarterback at his disposal week one of the first year of Luke Getsy. So I don't look at it that way. And to me, I'll give Aiden O'Connell credit. He looks like he's in better shape. It looks like he spent some time leaning up a little bit. Now, is it going to make him faster? No. Is it going to add twitch to his body? No. Is it going to make him a runner? No. That's not going to answer any of those questions. But he looks like he's putting in the work, and he's going to battle Gardner Minshew, and whoever wins is going to win. But the whole, well, it's an easier offense, so he's going to hit the ground running. I don't buy that at all.
Yeah, and
it's still an offense he has to learn with different terminology.
Yes, and it's still, you learn the offense, but when Devontae needs to, when Devontae crosses the face of a corner and he needs to catch the ball in stride, can you deliver the ball on time to him? It's still like, can he make those critical throws when you need him to do that? That's the biggest question we have. So we'll have to see whether he's able to be able to do that. Hearing a lot of talk about the culture, the culture is so much better, all that stuff like that. I think for me, I reserve culture for W's. Everybody can talk about culture in May and June. I think this is for me, especially when you hear Michael Mayer talk, it's definitely a easier, more enjoyable camp. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a winning camp for them. So like I know people love the culture. People love, AP is hard not to like. But at the end of the day, he will be held to the standard of winning games. And if he doesn't win games, then he'll be like any other coach. He won't be here that long.
No, totally. Culture matters. It matters. They have to like coming to work. They have to enjoy the environment. The coaches have to push them to get better. There has to be buy-in. There's clear buy-in right now.
Yes, there is.
if they're in week 3 and they're 0-3, will it be the same? No, it won't. So at the end of the day, what matters is they have to go out on the field and they have to produce. They have to win football games. The culture is great when you're winning. Let's see what it looks like if they're not. We don't know what that's going to look like. We saw AP. I may be wrong. Would they go 5-4 last year with him? Someone will probably look it up. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's not like they went 7-2. They went 5-4. So I do like the fact that everyone's there, everyone's upbeat. It looks like a fun environment. The players are thriving. They're getting better. We'll see what it looks like when week 1 when the lights turn on, because that's when it really matters.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, and like this is a game where, like, I think the biggest thing came out with as far as the favorites go, and the Raiders are favored in only 2 games this year as of right now, and the Niners are favored in every single game they play this year, including the game they play against the Chiefs. So we'll see how that rolls throughout the season as far as that goes. Question real quick from Mark from the 413. I think it's pretty clear, but like he said, that what coach under AP is under the most fire? I think it's obviously
Getsy.
It's Getsy. It's Getsy and Lou Getsy. All of them. And it's just, he just, like, offensively, like, they just need. I mean, like, it's hard. You want to be as explosive. Everybody talks about being explosive, and then they come to the Raiders and they're not really explosive. So, like, I've heard coaches say that for forever. Say the Raiders that they got to be explosive. You're a Raider coach, you got to be explosive. But I think, to me, like, everybody, like, they want to run the football. I understand that. Maybe I would go maybe the reverse, maybe on first down, and maybe you want to throw a little bit on first down to kind of loosen that thing up a little bit. But we'll see. Like we got to see what they do as far as running the football. Are they going to be able to run the football at a high level? Play action is going to be available to them if they're able to do that. But I mean, I think it's clearly if everybody's going to say the Raiders have, like, bottom third quarterback room, bottom third running back room, and a bottom third offensive coordinator, then I mean, obviously they're not going to get rid of all the players. They're going to get rid of the offensive coordinator, and he's a guy who I think is under fire the most.
No doubt. He's being set up to be the fall guy if this thing doesn't work out well already, and he hasn't even coached the game.
Yes, that's true.
As a Raiders coach, so he's in a tough circumstance. But coaches know that when they take these jobs, he has to go out there and he has to score points, because AP's a defensive guy. Marvin Lewis is a defensive guy. Yep. Patrick Graham's a defensive guy. So it comes down to what can he do with the offense. I did find it interesting. I believe it was Luke Steckel, the tight end coach. They asked him, I believe it was today. Mm-hmm. They asked him about Bowers and Mayer. I don't know if you caught that quote, but he kind of said, we'll use them based on the matchups week to week, which guy we're going to get really involved. It was to paraphrase it, and that caught me off guard. Like, wait a minute, like, you took Brock Bowers 13 and there are weeks where he might not be involved. Like, this guy needs to be involved every game and every game plan. Him and Devontae 1A, 1B. There should not be weeks where Brock Bowers is not involved in the game plan. If there is, I've got major questions for everyone on the coaching staff.
It could be so. This four game stretch here is not really a Brock Bowers type offensive week. So we're gonna go with somebody else for that. Yeah, that would be tough to handle. Did you hear Marvin Lewis today? Any thoughts about Marvin Lewis at all?
I caught a couple of quotes on X or Twitter about it, and he basically is saying he's there to support AP. Essentially, he's been an AP guy. He loves AP, and he's there to give him whatever assistance he needs. That's great. AP needs that. Yeah. A lot of coaches need that. So to have that veteran, and we talked about it when they hired him on the staff, that's why he's there, kind of in a supportive role to support Antonio Pierce as he moves forward as his first time head coach instead of an interim head coach.
Yeah, no question about it. A name to add to the quarterback room. Shay has been like, why is everybody trying to put Trey Lance on the Raiders? I don't know. Trey Lance is not coming to the Raiders. He's not, and especially he's gonna play all through the preseason. He's gonna play all the way, all the way through training camp for the Cowboys. He'll probably play until Dak gets a deal. He'll probably play all the time. And then when Dak gets his deal, because I don't think Dak's going to go anywhere. I think it's hard to, even if you don't love Dak Prescott, it's difficult to find a quarterback who is like Dak Prescott. So like there's no replacement in there, Ryan. I think Trey Lance is not going anywhere.
If they cut him, is it a conversation to add into the room?
Yes.
Sure, because they need to keep 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Would I give up assets to go trade for him? No, I wouldn't, because he's going to be a free agent anyways after this year.
Yeah, no question about it. Let's see here. We got what kind of level would the defense have to play at to make the playoffs?
Top 5. They have to be a top 5 defense.
Top 5. That was quick. Top 5. I mean, with the offense being such a question mark at quarterback and at offensive coordinator, then they'd have to kind of be like that kind of lights out defense. And
top 7. Let's give them a little leeway.
Let's have 7. Yeah,
they can't be 15.
They can't be 13. They can't be. I mean, they're gonna have to give up like 18, 17 points a game. And it's hard to do in the National Football League, but that's what they're gonna have to do unless this offense shows that they can be explosive as far as that goes. What do you think about Tyree taking the next step? Like people talk about the move to the inside, right? With him. And like he's really not going to be inside. So like, with the when you look at the roster that they have, so he's still a guy in rotation who's going to be on the outside, and he has to learn how to get to the quarterback. I mean, he's gonna, when you have him on the field with Kuntz, Max Crosby, and Wilkins, he just has to be able to beat somebody one-on-one. He is a physical specimen. So it's not like he's built like me or you. He's built like he's a giant. The dude can smack you from across the room with his wingspan. So that's about Tyree coming in, and he talked about being fully healthy now, no foot issues, nothing like that. Thoughts about him?
Well, I'm the first one to say that OTAs don't matter, but the video clips of Tyree Wilson that are out there now, he looks like he's in really good shape. He looks explosive. He looks like he's getting off the ball much quicker. And then granted, it's a clip here, a clip there, but he's moving much better.
Yeah.
Will it translate when the pads go on in a live event where he's got to read a snap count and get off and battle like an offensive lineman instead of run around in shorts? I hope so. He's my number one most intriguing player to see what happens this training camp, because if he can carve out more snaps, they're going to play him on the outside. He's not a full-time interior player. He's not built that way. He's leaned up. You're not going to line him up on first and second down at defensive tackle. So fans that think that they're going to do that, I would caution you, that's not going to happen. He's going to mix in snaps at the edge. Now, if he's losing a ton of snaps to Malcolm Kuntz on early downs, that's a huge problem, because Malcolm Kuntz is more of an edge rusher.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Tyree get snaps first down, second down, and kind of mix him in the interior on third down, where he needs to set the edge and help the run defense. Which is why I don't think the Raiders are in a rush, in my opinion, to just go out and give Malcolm Kuntz this big contract that all the Raider fans want, because Malcolm Kuntz still isn't an every down player. He's a pass rush specialist that thrives when he can just put his hand in the ground and go get the quarterback. He's going to be splitting snaps with Tyree Wilson if Tyree Wilson can play at a little bit higher level than he did last year. So to go out and give him this huge contract that Raider fans want to lock him up, he's not a 3-down player, in my opinion. He's more of, get him in there at 2nd and 10, third downs, get after the quarterback. But if Tyree Wilson starts giving you pass rush on the outside, Tyree Wilson's going to get those snaps. So he's going to cut into Malcolm Kuntz. So how that battle ends up translating when we get to week 1, who's getting the most snaps, who's in there on third down, is Tyree Wilson a non-factor, or is he getting half the snaps in these games to keep everyone fresh? Because we know what's on the other side. We know with Wilkins and Max Crosby, you probably have, if not the best, the second or third best pair, the tandem on one side of the line in the entire National Football League. So Kuntz, Wilson is my number one training camp battle to watch.
And like you look at it, you have a contract, a long-term deal with Wilkins, long-term deal with Crosby. Tyree has, his rookie deal. It would make if Tyree has more upside to me than Kuntz. Like if he plays at a high level, because he's just so big and so long. Like I know Raider fans don't want to see him go, but like that would probably make the most sense to have those three guys with Tyree, Wilkins, and Crosby paying at a high level. And if the Raiders put a contract out there that's not satisfiable to Malcolm Kuntz and he goes somewhere else and gets paid, you can't get mad at Malcolm Kuntz for that because I mean, how much money do you think the Raiders are already invested a lot of money in the defensive line as they should. You want to have much pass rush as humanly possible, but I don't see a way if Tyree plays very well or plays just equal to or close to equal as Kuntz, I don't see how Kuntz comes back.
Let's play a game for a second. You're Malcolm Kuntz's agent. The Raiders come to you in preseason and say, "Here's a deal. Let's just throw a number out there, $9 million a year. Here's a 3-year, $27 million deal with $20 million guaranteed." He's not going to take that.
No.
He's going to go out and try to get 15 plus. And I don't think the Raiders are in a position to pay him 15 plus $million. As long as they have confidence that Tyree Wilson's going to be the player they hope he's going to be.
Yeah.
And let's just say if they're going to split snaps, if the plan is for them to split snaps, the Raiders aren't going to offer Malcolm Kuntz $15 million a year.
No,
they're not.
No.
So,
and if
I would expect Malcolm Kuntz. The Raiders will probably slide something in front of him. His agent will say, "No, we're going to go to the market." Pass rushers get paid on the open market.
Yes.
So if he can get somewhere in the 7 to 10 sacks again this year, he's going to get a nice payday. And if Tyree Wilson comes along and gives you, let's just say 6 or 7 sacks, and he shows that he can be a force in the run game and set the edge, the Raiders are going to let Malcolm Kuntz walk and take the comp pick.
Yeah, you have to do that. It's just the way.
You can't pay them both.
You can't
play them both.
You can't play them both. No question about it.
You can't play them both at the same time on first and second down.
No, you cannot. You can do NASCAR on third down, but no, that's not going to work if it's if it's first down. Max Crosby, real quick, the deal that he did that people have questions about that part of it. That added, you said that added money to dead money for the Raiders.
Well, they added $6 million to his salary for this year, so it increased his cap number. Yeah. They didn't add any years on the back end. So basically, they're paying him now to keep him. Hey, you're the team leader. We're giving you money. We love the energy you bring. Keep being you. Yeah. And it's almost like a preemptive, because he's going to be a free agent in 2 years, or after 2026. So he's got this year and the 2 years after that. It's almost like, hey, look, we took care of you. They gave him a little bit of money next year as well. I think it was $1.25 million or something like that. And kind of just trying to keep him as happy as they can keep him and try to keep him close to the top of that pass rusher market, because they have the cap space and they have the money to do it right now. So do everything they can to keep Max Crosby happy. We'll see what they do with Devontae Adams, because now he has a case. If he goes out and has another good year to say, hey, you took care of Max, take care of me.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because Max, I think the way Devontae talks, he just really does not want to go anywhere else. So that'll be interesting to see what happens as far as the whole dynamic.
Talk to me in 17 games and we'll see. I wouldn't say that.
Well,
he doesn't want to go anywhere right now.
Right now. And I can't sit there, like I said, it's here, and I was talking to somebody else about this today too. I was like, listen, you're the window to win is right now for the Raiders, and unfortunately they don't have I don't want to mention the quarterback thing because people get mad on in the comments.
There's that one guy that posts every time. Sell your tickets. Don't go to games. Don't listen.
But like I said, if they are able to make the playoffs and Aiden O'Connell is able to show that he can be a quarterback, then it'll work out. Last year Getsey's offense got DJ Moore a bunch of catches in it, so we'll see if they can still do that for Devontae. Devontae is fine. I think Devontae is fine. You're right. If you get to the trade deadline, or you also get to situations where and after week 15, and the Raiders are out of it, and they're not going to be playing for a playoff game, a playoff spot, then after a while that gets old, because he's not getting younger. He's not getting younger, and he can still play at a high level. So that's what I would say about I totally agree with you about the Devontae thing as far as that goes. Andrew,
if they're in it in the last couple of weeks and they win 8 or 9 games, I think he'll be okay as long as they're showing progress.
Yes, as a
The
franchise,
person
yeah.
that takes the snaps, instead of saying that the Q word, I'll say the person that takes the snaps.
Mhm.
But if they're not, if this team somehow nosedives and wins 5 or 6 games, do you think Devontae wants to come back next year when they don't have if they don't have a solution for the person
Yeah,
that takes snaps? I would say probably not. Not at his
probably.
age, where
Yeah.
where he needs to go for his legacy.
And there's spots where he could, and there's obviously spots where he can go and contribute to a team that can potentially play for a Super Bowl or play in the AFC Championship game. So we'll see, we'll see. Let's see here. Andrew wants to know about the cornerback room. I think cornerback room is going to be. They want to see the young people. I think they also want to wait till I think June 1st. There'll be some, I mean, there's opportunities to get cornerbacks there. I know the Raiders people have tied them to Dory Jackson a lot. If Jones ever went down, then that would be like, oh my God, what do we do in the secondary? So like, yeah, so knock on wood. I don't want it to happen. I think he's been great so far for the Raiders. But you want to team him up with somebody, and then if Richardson or Shire or Bennett come through for the team. Also that would help as well. And then Nate Hobbs has always been a guy who we love. We love our own. The Raiders love players who were drafted by the Raiders. But Nate Hobbs has to play 16, 18
Just to stay
games.
healthy.
He has to play. He has to play. And that's a big thing for him. We thoughts about the quarterback room and as far as like getting that guy opposite side, Jack Jones.
I'm almost positive they're going to sign a veteran right before training camp, almost like they did last year with Marcus Peters. Let these young kids, these young bucks, get the snaps and OPAs, see what they look like running around. Let them learn the defense. This team has to be carried by the defense.
Yeah.
This defense has to play at a high level for this team to get to where they want to go. Can they go into the season with Jack Jones and Jacorian Bennett outside and this defense play at the level they need to? I don't think so. Personally, I don't. I don't think Bennett's ready for that. They're going to have to go out. They have the cap space. They're almost going to go out. They're going to get a guy right before camp, let him work into shape, let the young kids get the snaps in the preseason game, and have that guy hit the ground running week 1. Whether that's a Xavier Howard, a Dory Jackson, Steven Nelson, Stephon Gilmore, whoever that veteran is, the Raiders need another veteran in that room. They also need another guy that can play in the slot if something were to happen to Nate Hobbs.
Yes. So yeah, Nate Hobbs is the slot is going to be huge because they need somebody there, and no question about it. So we'll see what happens as far as that goes. Anything else from this little slow period of time of Raider football right here? I'm also real quick. I did want to make sure. I'm sorry, I almost forgot. Rest in peace to Jim Otto and his family. And Jim Otto was. I've always said like the Raiders. I want a Ring of Honor for the Raiders because there's certain numbers that annoy me that people still play. I know nobody's ever going to use the 00 like he did, but he wore it well. I mean, and it's crazy because like he was before our time, but it still hit me when he passed away. So he talked about how great his impact was for the Raiders.
Yeah, I never saw him play as a player either. He was before my time, but just growing up as a Raider fan, born in the late 70s, just hearing all the great stories, him being around the team through all these years.
Yeah.
He's an integral part. He's in the box every game. They show him on TV. The players talk about him. He was constantly around the team and just showing what it truly means to be a Raider. So for that, I thank him. I know the players in the building loved being around him, and rest in peace to the great 00 Jim Otto.
Yeah, no question about it. And I do think, I mean, along with the ceremony, I'm sure that's going to be probably the first game against the Panthers.
I'll be there.
For the first home game. Yeah, well, hopefully hopefully it's a victory. But just give him a spot. Make a Ring of Honor. Go ahead, but throw it up there. Like if I could just see that number and 24 get retired. I just don't want to see anybody wearing number 24 again. That's just me. But that's one number that I really don't want to see anybody wear again. But
you want to see Michael Huff come back and wear number 24?
I just don't want to. I just don't want to see. I don't see Marcus Peters wear 24. Like I don't want to see anybody wear 24 ever again. So I mean, I think that'd be a cool thing. It didn't happen when he was alive. I know the Raiders don't usually don't the Raiders don't have anything with retired numbers, but since it's a number that nobody can wear anyway, nobody's gonna wear ever again anyway. Why not just give him a little spot there as far as that goes. But Raider fans, please keep bringing the questions in, keep doing all those things that you guys do as far as watching the show, leaving comments, liking, that helps the show a lot. The Raiders are going to be, like I said, the Raiders, you know, it, you know, the team is talented. And there's not even a question about it. I think the roster is very talented. It's very good. You have Patrick Graham coming back, and I mean, which could be his last year with the Raiders, but I think they're poised to do some really good things. But we just have to see what number 12 can do for them as far as how far
Or
they can take them.
15.
Or 15, or 15. So we'll have to see how far they can do that as well. One question about the running back room. Do we feel like they were? I think the running back room is going to be, I wish they would have got somebody a little bit higher level than Alexander Madison. I think it's a lot to put on somebody's 17 games on that. There can be to me running back by committee. Dylan Lobby, I gotta see it because he played at New Hampshire. So I just gotta see him do it to NFL players. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know other people are trying, because he's wearing 23, they're trying to obviously do the whole running back thing. I'm not gonna say the comparison.
Don't even say it.
Don't even say it. But you know what 23
say
is.
Danny Woodhead if you're gonna say a name.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Danny Woodhead that would be he had a nice career in the NFL. I'm not saying that he's at a high level like what Dylan Lobby, but let's be it's going to be Madison, it's going to be Zamir White, and it's going to be Abdullah. So I like Abdullah, but I think for me I would say we'll see what Zamir does. Maybe they pick somebody up, maybe they don't. But there's a lot of names here. You go all the way back to Sincere McCormick, to Britton Brown, to Dylan Lobby. We'll have to see what happens as well. What shakes out in the running back room. But right now, it's definitely number 3 is going to be toting the rock the most for the Raiders.
Yeah, definitely be Zamir White as the lead horse, and then obviously you're going to mix in Madison as kind of a change or to spell him, and then the third down back is going to be Lobby, is going to be Abdullah. Special teams are going to play huge, and who makes these final roster spots. And I think, but the way the kick return rules are set up, if Lobby can be the kick returner and have value on special teams, on coverage units, and kind of wrestle that spot away from Abdullah, I could see that happening. I wouldn't put it past them to keep 4. Maybe Britton Brown makes his team. He has kick return experience as well at UCLA. If he can stay healthy and just give you another slashing type back to have in the backfield, he can catch the ball in the backfield as well. I think they might keep 4. It'll be interesting to see what the offensive line looks like. I know we didn't talk about it, but it's kind of interesting to me that they basically handed the job to Thayer Munford, it looks like, with no real competition.
Yeah.
They said, here, go. You're the guy. But it's interesting that they're going to do that. And it's interesting that it looks like they've flipped Parham over to right guard, where I thought he should have been the whole time, if not center. And it looks like Jackson Powers Johnson is going to play left guard. So it looks like the line's set, with Andrus Peat kind of being that backup guy that can play guard, left tackle. If anything happened at right tackle, then he could possibly swing over there as well. So it looks like you have your top 6, maybe 7. Maybe Cody Whitehair is that interior guy that can play center. He can play both guard spots. So it looks like there's not going to be a ton of competition along the offensive line, which I would have liked to see a little bit more. But you can't argue with bringing in a guy with Pete's resume, with kind of the career he's had. It's kind of that 6th offensive lineman. So we'll see. They need to stay healthy along that offensive line, especially at the tackle spots. If they have some injuries at the tackle spots, this offense could stall a little bit. I do like the interior 3 guys, especially if Parham's at right guard and you have the rookie Jackson Powers Johnson at left guard, and then obviously you have a veteran behind them in Whitehair. So we'll see what happens. The offensive line is going to be really interesting because I think they're the next scapegoat. If this offense doesn't play well, it starts with Getsy, then it's going to be the offensive line's fault. So it's going to be a couple rings down the ladder before we start talking about guys that take snaps.
No question about it. And I will say this because we had 7 people, and then I'll say this in closing: 7 questions about Dalton Wagner. Like I did no idea the fascination we have with Dalton Wagner. But he's where he is for a reason. They have their Mumford there. They drafted DJ Glaze. Like if he was closer to starting, I think that they would be just.
And he wasn't brought in by this regime. Let's
Yes,
remember that. And this
he
regime
wasn't.
just went out and brought in Coker as an undrafted free agent. So Dalton Wagner has no ties to the offensive line coach, the GM, or even really the head coach. Because remember, Antonio Pierce was a linebackers coach when these decisions were made after last year's draft to bring these players in. So there is no real tie to Dalton Wagner. If he makes the team, great. I don't see him being a factor at the end of the day. Those final 8 or 9 offensive linemen are going to make this roster. He might be on the practice squad again. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, he might be there. So we'll see what happens. Down the road, maybe, who knows, but we'll see. All right, Ryan, I know you got to catch a flight in the morning. Take care. Be safe.
Another one.
Like
DJ Khalid, another one.
Another one. And I think that's pretty much it, Raider Nation. Take care. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Take care.